Hello everyone, I am Subhana, Assistant Professor from Computer Science and Engineering Department in SNS College of Technology. In this video, we are going to learn about the React JS, which is a very important topic in full stack development, and it is also a core part of MERN stack. So instead of starting with the definitions and syntax, today I will explain the React by using a simple real world story so that even beginners can clearly understand why React is needed and how it works. So let us begin. Here the story is the hero story, the magic scoreboard. Let me ask you a simple question. Where does your focus go during the moment a runner's foot touches the finish line? So your eyes immediately go to the scoreboard, right? So as a sports fan, we depend on the scoreboard to tell us who is winning, what is the score, and whether the match is still is in progress or finished. So the scoreboard must update instantly. If it does not, we feel confused and frustrated. In today's story, the scoreboard is our hero, and that hero is the React JS. So let me move on to a problem statement. So the problem statement is, so let us understand this in the user point of view. Imagine a situation, the game is happening live. Players are scoring points, but the scoreboard is not updating. What happens? You keep on waiting, you just refreshing the pages, still there is no update. So this creates anxiety for the user, and it also creates a poor experience, and it creates a lack of trust in the entire game board scoreboard system. So this is a very common issue in traditional web applications where the front end is not dynamic if it is in a static way. So we can define this problem. So what exactly the problem here is? The real problem is that the interface has lost its pulse, right? So the front end does not respond to change, does not update in real time, becomes a single point of failure. This is where we need a smarter solution. So let me think of that solution. So we think of all the possible solutions first. So one option is manually requesting the update again and again. Another option is using server sent event, but the best solution is using React JS. So why we need React JS? Because React handles the user interaction efficiently, and it updates the user interface on the screen automatically, and it keeps the interface synchronized with data. React also behaves like a live stadium scoreboard that updates instantly. So this is the reason why we are choosing the React for solving this issue. So now let us understand what React JS is. So React JS is a JavaScript library used to build interactive user interfaces. This is developed by Facebook. So React will works using the components. Each part of the UI is a component. For example, a clock is one component, a scoreboard is another component, and a button is another more component. So this makes the application modular, reusable, and which is easy to maintain. So let me explain the prototype workflow and also outcome of this React JS. So let's see how this React actually works. So in React, each component has its own state. So which means each state will represent the dynamic data. Dynamic data means the data will change from time to time. So when a state change, the UI will update automatically. So React will use something called the virtual DOM. DOM is nothing but the document object model. So instead of refreshing the entire page, React will compare the old UI and the new UI. So it will update only the changed part. So in our story, only the score number changes, the background remains the same. This makes the React very fast and efficient one. So this is the ecosystem of the React and routing. So from this, React does not work alone. It has a powerful ecosystem. So it has Redux or context for state management, Axios or fetch for API communication, and the routing will allow us to navigate from one page to another page without reloading the browser. This is why the React application feels like mobile application, and it is also faster. And this is the React communication flow. So React flows in a unidirectional data. It is not a bidirectional one. This means the data from parent to child component only, not from child to parent in a reverse direction. Communication happens using props and states. So that is, this approach makes the application predictable, and it reduces the bugs, and it also improves debugging. And this is the conditional UI flow and testing of this React JS. So since React is a very powerful when it comes to conditional rendering, for example, if a data is loading, shows a loader. If the internet is disconnected, shows a waiting for signal. If the score changes, it will display as an update instantly. So during the testing part, when the database score changes, the UI updates in less than 1 second. When the internet is turned off, the user sees a clear message. When the app is reopened, the latest score is displayed. This ensures the smooth user experience. Let me see the applications of React. So React is widely used in live score application, e-commerce platform, and in any dashboard, social media application, and in real-time chat system. So anywhere the UI must be fast, dynamic, and responsive. For that, React will be very useful and efficient front end JavaScript. So to summarize this, React is a component based model. It uses the virtual DOM. It manages the state and event efficiently. Now a small business, now we do a small hands-on activity. So just you build a digital light switch. Display the light is on or the light is off. Toggle using a button. So for doing this, ask yourself, what is the state, light status? What is the event? That is nothing but the button click. Okay, so just you ask yourself about this question, and you just develop a code for building a digital light switch. Okay, so this brings us to end of today's sessions on React JS. I think the video is very useful for you, and also you understand about the React JS in a depthful manner. So thank you for watching. Happy learning, and see you in the next video.